Today we're going to be tying up the verminator. So it's a salmon fly that originated in northern England. Okay, and it's quite a unique style compared to some of the other long-tailed salmon flies. I'm just going to add on white or red thread, and that's going to be the main thread for the body and also the head. And then I'm going to add on some silver wire there, and that's going to create the tag and the rib. Okay, so get your tag and just do 4 or 5 turns towards the rear of the hook. And then once you're happy, the last one, just put that through the centre and tuck that in. And then we just secure with a few wraps. And then we can run the thread back up. Okay, just tighten the face. And then we just tuck that wire underneath again. And now that wire will also create our rib, which is essential for this fly. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is add on our tail. So what I've done is I've got a mixture of black, hot orange and yellow. So basically willy gun colours. And they're already in the stacker. Okay, so they should already be aligned like this. Okay, and then I'm just going to pick a few. This is a size 10, so I'm not going to have it too heavy. Okay. And this is going to create my long tail. So in terms of the length, it's entirely up to yourself. Do 2 or 3 times the shank, twice the hook. You'll judge yourself what you're used to. What is important whenever I'm putting this in is making sure that I tie it in a little bit further up than the tag. Okay. And the reason I do this is so then I don't have to apply too much pressure close to that tag and make it splay. Okay, so I'm going to make a little bit of adjustment, make it a bit longer. Okay, and before I continue up the tag, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of pieces of crystal flesh. I'm going to use the weight of the bobbin to put those on top, and then I'm going to double them back. So that gives me 4 strands of crystal flesh. Okay, then I'm going to get super glue, and again, very minimal pressure on the bobbin at this stage. And I'm going to put a little bit of super glue on about 1 inch or maybe 2 inches of thread. And I'm going to bring that up to the tag and then back down again. And what that's going to do is 2 things. That'll secure it in, but as well as that, it'll prevent any splaying, which if I compressed it under thread, it might do. Then we just trim off our excess and just bring that thread just to try and get a nice smooth body. Doesn't have to be too level, but as long as there's no major bumps. Okay. Now then, the body has 2 parts, so it's quite unique. So it has an underbody of copper mylar. So I'm going to use some copper flat. In fact, I'm going to tie that in at the top. Okay, and then as well as that has an overbody of pearl. So it gives it quite a unique colour. I've never seen any other fly, to be honest. But it seems to do well on some of the northern England rivers that have a big peat stain. Okay, so I'm just going to continue those up to the tail. Okay, and before I do any more, I'm just going to trim the length of the tail for the crystal flesh, or maybe a wee bit shorter than the tail I usually do. Okay, and then I like to add on a little bit of super glue onto my thread before I put on a flat body. Okay, and this makes things a lot easier and a lot more secure. Okay, so then I just run that thread up the body. It doesn't have to be touch and turns, it can be open enough turns. This super glue is enough to catch the body material, and at the same time, if I let go of the body material and it slips, you're only going back to the last wrap because the super glue will adhere to it. Okay, so now I'm just going to get my copper and do 1 full turn around the tag, and then touch and turns up. Okay, and you'll see that I used red. I normally use white or yellow thread for the main part whenever I'm using a tinsel body, but red's close enough to this copper compared to white, so I'm happy enough if there is any slippage. Okay, not that there should be with the super glue, but just in case. Now then, we'll just secure that in with a few turns. Okay, trim off as you go along, just keep things neat. And then follow that up with your pearl. Okay. Again, this is just overlapping turns. Now then, once you get up to the top, as always, just a couple of turns, 2 or 3 to secure it in. And bring your thread back towards the tail. Trim off your excess. Now, I won't bring the rib up just yet because I actually have a palmered body they put on. So that's quite unique about this fly. Not many salmon flies have palmered bodies. So I have hot orange cock hackle. What I'm going to do is, it's essential that I have a good bit of wax on the thread for this. I'm going to wax the thread. I'm going to tie the cock hackle at the butt end. Okay, so a few turns, secure it in. Okay, I'm going to keep the stock there just in case there's any slippage. Okay, but hopefully there isn't. Okay, and then this is really the only time I use hackle pliers. I'm going to just hold that in right at the tip. I'm going to do 1 full turn, maybe 2 full turns, sorry. And then a few turns down the body, maybe 2 or 3 down the body. 1, 2, 3. Okay, then we'll get our wire. Okay, and our wire is going to come up and catch that hackle in. Okay, so I can put the pliers down now, and I'm going to do 4 or 5 turns up the body here, which at each turn will secure that hackle even better. Okay, then a few turns secured in at the head. Now I can trim off the butt of the hackle. Okay, and I can also twist off the wire. Save my scissors. Okay. This space keeps on slipping, just tighten it in there. Okay, then we can go in with our scissors and just cut off that tip. Make sure that whenever you're going in, well, actually the tip came off. There you go. You can pull the tip off, or you can go in with scissors. I do normally prefer to cut it off, but I know it would be quite secure anyway. Anything going forward, just brace it back. Okay. So you've got the fly in itself. I'm sure that'll catch plenty of fish. But what we'll do is we'll put an overwing on. Okay, so I have, this is fox mask. Okay, so it's fairly soft hair. Cut close to the base as always. And then what you want to do is you want to hold probably about 1/3 off the tips. And just pull that under fur off. That'll keep mobility. And as well as that, you can remove some of the guard hairs, again to increase mobility. Okay, and I want that to go probably just past the end of the hook, really, to extend into the tail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut where I think it'll finish off, just to give me a neater head. Then I'm going to use pinch and loop. And a few turns to secure it in. Okay. Then the last thing I want to do is add on jungle cock eyes. So I have 2 feathers here. I'm just going to put them one at each side. Okay, and then just a couple of light turns. First of all, for some positioning. If any hackles, if you catch any hackles, don't worry. You can always get it afterwards. Okay, I'm happy on this side. I'll need a slight adjustment on that side. Okay. And normally I would super glue the hackles up, or super glue the jungle cock, but because I have a few fibres going forward there, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring those back and double tie them in instead. At the same time I can draw back the hackles. I'll try and keep things neat. And at the same time building up the head. Okay, so holding the thread, I can actually pull the excess off. If I can get a good grip of it. Okay, I did on one side, but I'm going to need to cut this side. Okay. Then all we need to do is get our whip finish tool and do 4 or 5 turns as always. And you might have to hold back some of those hackle fibres just. And that's your verminator salmon fly, folks. It's quite strange having no hackle in front of the wing, but something they definitely give a go, and I can see those colours working really well in a peat stain. As always, if you enjoyed the video, do check out my other videos coming up on screen now. Until next time, thanks very much. All the best.